you guys! So you read that title, right? I have a brain tumor. Bum, bum, bum. Actually, a lot of people have the type of tumor that I have in my brain, but they don't know it because it doesn't cause any problems. Unfortunately, mine does cause problems. So, this is a story all about how I find out I had a brain tumor. It really starts in 2019. The only doctor I really went to back then was my gynecologist, and I would go for my yearly visit to have, my yearly tests done and to get a refill on my birth control prescription. So in 2019, I told her, I am not feeling well around the first week when I start my pill pack for the month. I don't feel good. And it happens just about once a month. And she said, it's nothing. It's probably just something else because your hormones are fine. They're all level because you take birth control, so you don't have to worry about it. And I was like, okay, well, I'm weird like that, and I have a winky stomach anyways, and I always have, so it's probably that, or my anxiety or something. It's probably nothing. So a whole year goes by, and by the end of 2019, I was like, I'm going to take control of my health. I'm going to take care of myself and start trying to figure out what's wrong with me. And all different kinds of things that were happening. Also, by the end of 2019, which kind of spurred this, my boobs started leaking. Now, at that point in time, I hadn't given birth for 10 years. Kaylin was 10 at that point in time, and I did breastfeed her, but there was no reason for my boobs to be leaking. And they weren't in pain or anything like that. It was just a weird thing, and I figured whatever was happening, I'd figure it out when I went to the doctor in January. I'd tell her about it in January. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. So I go to the doctor for my normal checkup in January, and I let her know about my leaky boobs, and I'm like, this is weird. And she's like, well, it happens. It can be a number of things. It can be a brain tumor. It can be a cancer. It can be just stress. And I was like, okay, that's life. I'll figure out what's going on with it. The test that she wanted to do was to check my prolactin levels. And prolactin is the hormone that makes a person make breast milk. So if my prolactin levels were raised, that would explain why I was leaking breast milk from my boobs. So she checked my prolactin levels, and they were a little bit raised, and she said she didn't think that was what it was, but she wanted me to get my prolactin levels checked one more time while fasting. So I had that done, and they were even higher when I had my blood drawn while I was fasting. So she said the next step was to get an MRI done of my brain, because that usually leads a doctor to believe that you have a pituitary tumor or a pituitary adenoma. And in this case, it would be called a prolactinoma because it's a pituitary adenoma that releases prolactin. And like I said already, a lot of people have these tumors, but they just don't know that they have them because they don't cause any problems. In women, they rarely grow very large, and men would know because they do cause problems in men a lot of times if men have them. But a lot of women that have them don't even know because they don't cause any problems. They can cause infertility, and so that's a lot of times when somebody goes to the doctor because they're having fertility problems. That's a lot of times what they check first is for that pituitary tumor because it can cause fertility problems. So I scheduled my MRI, like the doctor suggested, to check my pituitary gland to see if there was a tumor there. And it had to be the closed MRI, the closed tube, because it's in the middle of your brain. So it has to really focus. And the open ones, they can't focus as much. Or this is like how I read it, like the difference between the open and the closed MRIs. They can't concentrate as much on that area or something like that. And I had a MRI before when I was like 12 or 13 of my stomach or something, and it wasn't that big a deal then. So I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal this time. So we show up at the hospital for the MRI, And I didn't know any better, so I wore, a cute outfit or whatever, and I had to take everything off because everything had metal on it, like my bra, my boots, my pants, like everything had metal on it. Magnetic resonance imaging is what MRI stands for, so it uses magnets, right? So you can't have anything metal or anything. So I go in there to get my MRI done, and they lay me down on the table, and I'm fine. And then I find out that they have to put this, like, cage over your face. And they screw it down. So you're laying flat on your back, which I'm not good on my back anyways in the first place. I feel like I can't breathe when I'm, like, flat on my back. And they put the cage on my face and screw it down, and I'm like, okay, it's fine, no big deal. Then they slide me into the tube, and I'm like, it's okay. I'm like laying there with my eyes closed. It's fine. No big deal. And then I hear the door close as the tech or whoever it was left the room. And she tells me, okay, the first blah, blah, and I'm like, nope. And I'm pushing my button, like, I can't do it. I'm trapped. Like, I was freaking out. And they couldn't get me out, like, fast enough. Like, she pushed whatever button, I think, while she was still in the other room to put me out. And it's really slow. It's really slow coming out. And I don't want to ruin their equipment, but I'm like, I need this mask off my face. Ah! I can't describe to you the terror that it caused me. I'm bawling. Like, I'm sitting up on the table, like, bawling. She gets me some water, like, and I know she's like, oh gosh, like, we need to get other people in here too, and she's, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I tried. I can't do it. I'm gonna have to figure something else out. So I go out of the room, and my husband's like, all done? And I'm like, no, I couldn't do it. As I'm bawling. So I have to reschedule it. And this time, the doctor, or the tech at the hospital where I was having the MRI done, the lady that's helping me, she's so kind. She tells me, like, we'll just talk to your doctor and have her prescribe you some sort of relaxing agent. And I can't remember what they gave me, but they gave me something, some kind of relaxing agent. So I went back, like, 2 weeks later, and I was able to do it. Now, it didn't work. Whatever they gave me didn't work like probably it's like supposed to work. It's for anxiety. It's like an anxiety medicine or something that they gave me. I cannot remember what it was though. So they gave me that medicine, and I took it like before I got there, and I was definitely a lot calmer. But I also got suggestions from my friend. So I had my husband come into the MRI place with me, and he had to put his hand on my leg the entire time. And so that I knew that somebody was outside of the tube. And also they gave me like some oxygen, a little cannula, so I could hold it right here by my face. So I didn't feel like I couldn't breathe, because that was part of it too, is I felt like I couldn't breathe in this tomb. That's what it was like to me, a tomb. So I was able to complete the MRI the second time. And I was so embarrassed, and I had the same like tech or nurse. I don't know what they are, but it was the same person that helped me the last time, and so she helped me this time too. And I apologized to her like for the last time. I'm so sorry, because I know that's probably annoying to have people freak out like that over nothing. Like, rational me knew that there was nothing to worry about, but anxiety me was freaking out the whole time. So it took the doctor a little while to give me my results from that, and me and my husband like looked over the pictures, which I'll insert a few here, or maybe I'll insert them right now while I'm talking. I don't know, we'll see how that ends up. Because I asked too, I thought that was really cool that they were going to take pictures of my brain, right? Of my like whole, that's how they do the this way and this way, with and without contrast. I thought that was really neat. So I asked them when I was leaving, like, hey, can I get a copy, please? And they gave me a copy. That's pretty cool. And so we looked over the images, and we Googled, like, what a tumor looks like, blah, 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 whatever. And my husband's like, okay, well, me and Dr. Google decided that you don't have a tumor. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't look like it. I mean, I don't see anything that might be a tumor or whatever. And so we find out like a month later that I actually do have a tumor. I have what is called a pituitary microadenoma. It was 7 millimeters at the time of my brain scan, that brain scan. And so that is what was causing my leaky boobs. And I, like, thinking back, I was like, I wonder if that could be why I took so long to get pregnant, because there's no telling how long I had it. There's absolutely no way to know how long I've actually had it. In some people, they can have macroadenomas, which I think those are larger than 10 millimeters, and they can, like, compress your vision, hurt your sinus, like bother your sinuses and stuff like that, because it is, like, right in the middle of your brain, or like right through there in the middle of your brain. My battery died. I don't know where I was. So she tells me, the doctor tells me, you do have this tumor. I'm gonna send you to an endocrinologist because they're the ones that deal with this type of thing. So I go and visit the endocrinologist, and I'm like, I don't really care. Like, if it's not gonna grow and it's not causing me any problems but leaky boobs, like, I'm good. Like, I don't need to do anything. And they're like, well, you know, it could grow, it could cause this and that. Something that I didn't know is that because it releases prolactin, the hormone could, like, make you have osteoporosis sooner. If I could already get osteoporosis sooner because of my genetics or whatever, then I probably don't need to. So they prescribed me a medicine that's called cabergoline. It's actually, in high doses, it's actually used for people with Parkinson's. They started me on a pretty low dose. I took half of a pill 2 times a week. And that is supposed to lower your prolactin levels. That's what low doses of this medicine does. It tells the receptors or whatever to quit making prolactin. So I took that, and they took my blood again and told me my levels were still pretty high. So they upped my dosage. Oh yeah, I've been dealing with this for 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. But anyways, whatever. I go every 6 months to get my blood taken to see what my prolactin levels are currently. And I guess it was at 6 months when they said your levels are the same. You know, you need to up your dosage. And then another 6 months I went and my levels were the same. So they upped my dosage again. And I also got another MRI. And so by that time also, I was on my 3rd endocrinologist at that practice. And she told me that, I told her I was tired of it. Like, I'm tired of taking the medicine. You know, it's working for the most part to lower my prolactin levels, but what really does this cause? And she's like, well, we don't fully know 100%, but you know, she talked about osteoporosis again. She talked about moods and weight and stuff like that, all the different things that this can affect. So I now am currently on the highest dosage. She did schedule me to have another MRI, so I went and did that, and I told her, I need you. Well, the first thing she said was, are you claustrophobic? And I was like, yes, very badly. And I found that out the last time I had an MRI. So I was like, so if I'm going to get an MRI, can you please prescribe me the medication, and please give me something different or more of whatever they gave me last time, because it didn't work the last time, or it wasn't fully, you know, I wasn't zonked out enough to be like cool and calm and collected. And so this time she gave me 3 pills of whatever. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. So she gave me 3 of those, and I took all 3 of them, and it was a lot better this time. I was pretty calm through most of it, but I did have them do like the same thing. I had my husband come in there. I had the oxygen so that I didn't think that I couldn't breathe and stuff like that, just to make sure. Like, I was definitely a lot calm. I could feel that I was a lot more calm this time, and it went a lot faster this time. So I got the results from that and found out that now my tumor is 6 millimeters and the edges are more defined than they were the last time. I also found out that my endocrinologist was leaving the practice again. So I had to find another endocrinologist. But I do want to say that during the time, like before she sent me the letter saying that she was leaving, I asked her to see what I could do about testing for Cushing's. Because I figure if I have a tumor that releases a hormone, what if it releases another hormone? You know? And she did test the other like regular hormones. Like, there's a lot of the time these tumors release a growth hormone, so you'll see like young kids that are just growing crazily because the growth hormone is being released by these tumors. And also there's another that has to do with the thyroid, and neither one of those, my levels on both of those were fine. But I was like, I have a lot of the symptoms of Cushing's disease. So I asked her, can we do that test? And the problem with that test is that it's not really accurate when you're on birth control. So she gave me a jug to pee in for 24 hours. I was drinking a lot of water at that time, and I had more pee than the jug would hold. Sorry for the TMI, but that's what it was. So I did the test the best I could, and I turned it in like over full the next day, it was the next day. And those levels came back fine. But I've been reading more and more about Cushing's and finding that they can fluctuate. And so just doing it once is not really like the best thing to do. Sometimes you have to do multiple tests on it. That's the story about my brain tumor. Do you have a brain tumor? Let me know in the comments down below. Or have you ever heard of this? I actually saw a TikTok recently where the creator was talking about how her boobs started leaking when she was like 16 or something like that, and she like kept it a secret for a while and finally told her parents, and she had the same tumor. Hers was larger, and I don't remember I don't think I went and saw part 2 or anything like that, but I looked through the comments, because that's what you do, you go to the comments in TikTok. And I looked through the comments, and it was so many people that found out that they had tumors. I was like, wow, that's so crazy. It's a lot more common than you think. People just don't know, or they think they write it off or whatever, So anyways, that's my story about my brain tumor. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Bye!